want to welcome everybody here. It's glad to see all of you. And I want to take a few minutes to do some thank yous. Okay. Our administration, Mr. Cahill, Mr. Stratton, and Mr. Rose have all been very helpful to our program. And I want to recognize all of the efforts they have done on our behalf. I can't even begin to thank all of you parents. We wouldn't obviously even have this without you. And the fact that you have allowed us to have the privilege of coaching your young men and women. And we're very grateful for that. She's going to kind of, I called her at least twice my guardian angel today as I was coming back from Bend. But Emma Viagrana is the lady who makes all the arrangements for all of our housing when we go and a lot of other things. And she has just done an outstanding job. And this program wouldn't operate without her. I really believe that. And I just really want to recognize her and her efforts on our behalf. And then, most of all, probably is Caleb. Caleb's a former Lakeview cross-country track athlete, very accomplished athlete, and he's brought his talents, both from the standpoint of what he can do on foot, and because he can run with the kids and stuff like that, and also from the standpoint of all of the great knowledge that he's been able to impart to our fine athletes. And Caleb, I can't thank you enough. He's not my assistant coach, we're co-coaches. I don't believe in assistants. He's my co-coach. And he's really, really, really helpful. I want to recap. I want to recap the season just a little bit. We do not have 12 meets a year. We're allowed 12. We don't believe in 2 meets a week if we can all avoid it. We had a pretty good season from the standpoint of the meets that we could go to. There were a couple that we would have liked to have gone to, but they happened at the same time as the other meets that we went to. So we didn't keep from going to some of those that we would have liked to have gone, but they happened at the same time. All of these athletes practiced daily and worked hard and got a lot accomplished. Some really felt, I don't know quite how to say this, they all accomplished a great deal. And some of them are just beginning to learn, particularly our middle school kids. And so a couple of our high school kids, who have not participated before, etc., really made a big impact on our season. And I really want you to know that they're our future, and they just did a great job. Unfortunately, we have 3 seniors. The fortunate part about that is this is fall. So I won't get too upset right now because we'll have them 3 more, we'll have them through the track season before we actually lose them. And I'm sure all of them are track athletes, and we'll see them then. We had a good season. A lot of people will ask me, well, what's your win-loss record? It means nothing in cross country, because when you compete against all these teams, you can't win every meet. And when we put the schedule together, deliberately make an effort to make sure our competition is very tough. There's no point in us going out and going to meets where we can just run over people every week. And we're not going to improve that way. And so our competition was tough all year long. And these people rose to that level. And for that, we have to really, really thank them. As the season went along, when we got to districts, the girls were the district's champions for the 31 school district league. And that was quite an accomplishment. The boys came up just a little bit short. It's kind of different if you don't understand our program from the standpoint of going on, but there's 31 schools, and the girls have to compete in districts against 1, 2, and 3 A-level schools, all 3. But the boys only have to compete 1 and 2, and 3 is separate. We're not altogether sure why all of this happened, but that's the way it is from the standpoint of OSAA. And so the competition is a little bit different from that standpoint. The boys were third. The young man who was our top runner on the boys team all season spent that day in bed. And so we obviously did not have him when we competed that day. I do want Paul to know that those young men that competed on that team gave everything they had that day. There was nothing left. They gave absolutely everything they could to get to where they did. But they ended up third and were not able to go on. We're very, very proud of absolutely every single one of our athletes. All of them bring different things to our program, and that's kind of fun. It makes things a lot of fun. We're going to, before we hand out everything, we'll start with our middle school runners, then we'll go on to the high school runners. And I want you to know that the plaques that we normally give for outstanding proof and inspirational are coming. They're not here yet, okay? But they will be. So with that said, we're going to get started with the junior high kids. The only junior high, actually our junior team, we should say, the only one that's not here is Hayden Garden. Hayden's an 8th grader. And I really have to say that he's the most outstanding, he's the most inspirational, and he's the most improved, because he's the only boy we have. But you would have probably got those anyway. That young man worked very, very hard. He was quite disappointed that he was alone, but that didn't make any difference. He was there every day, he worked hard, he accomplished a great deal. And so we're very, very proud of Hayden and his accomplishments. What you do?
Alright, so part of the challenge with such young people is you watch them run, kind of like, well, there's some work there. And then in the back of your head, you're thinking, well, in 2 years, you're just going to have a growth spurt, and all that's going to go out the window. But let's try it anyway. Well, Shawnee doesn't really need to work on form a lot at the moment, and that's a good thing, because then we can just carry her right in through maturity and development, and she'll have a good form. She has no idea what she could perform. And that's where most of your 6th, 7th grade types are. They have no idea where they could end up a year down the road, 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road. And so the greater part of this season was just trying to get that message across. Hey, you stick with this, keep working, you listen, you could go places. It's a strong family, they've already gone places. Rowdy's a great example of how far they can go, and Shawnee's no exception. Always a pleasure to have on the team, not a divisive person or anything like that. Always shows up with a smile on her face. It's always a good day to have Shawnee around. Shawnee was voted most improved, inspirational by her teammates, which includes high school and junior high.
I'm
Studying.
okay. I've made this speech several times before because with a lot of times when we get kids that come, and they can be high school kids or they can be middle school kids and stuff like that, it's kind of like watching a young colt. Those long, skinny legs are trying to figure out what to do and where to go and how to make it work. And then they have to figure out, well, I got the legs figured out, and I got to get the arms there. And we work a lot with form and how we want these kids to work to improve their skills as they go through. And by golly, Elise, you are definitely a young colt. And when you grow up to those legs, because she came out And she reminds me of a young gal we still have, thank God, right now, came out, and you can't believe what that young lady has already done. But I will tell you, Elise, you improved a lot this year. And I am so excited to see you, maybe not grow 6 more inches this summer, and stuff like that, but come out. I think we're going to have the 6th graders out for track if you're interested in that. And we will, you have come a long, long ways. The first few times I watched you run, I thought, well, I work on hers. And anything you tell her, she does. She works on it. Kind of forgets once in a while, like we all do. But by golly, she works on it. She focuses on it. She really, really practices. And we're really, really proud of what you've accomplished. Elise, congratulations for your season.
A lot of the time for me, the season for an athlete can be captured by like a mental picture. At our first meet, Cottonwood, we were walking the course with the high schoolers, and the way the course works is you go backwards to the way the junior high races. So we're walking along there, and we get to the cattle guard, and we're almost done. We probably have a half mile to go walking the course. And here comes Elizabeth, just goes boom, just flying by. You get that cross-section of form. And if you get to see a cross-section of form on Elizabeth, you're looking at pretty close to as perfect a form as you can get. And that's a great thing, because she can just carry that all the way through high school. Elizabeth and I jogged the course together at Bob Furman. And I'm not a super talkative person. If you get me on a topic I'm super interested in, I'll talk your ear off. But we're just jogging the course there, and Elizabeth probably said 4 words. And I'm like, I'm used to this. I coached Mel for 3 years. We can handle this. So, pointing stuff out on the course, and she just goes, okay. So she's paying attention. You don't have to be a blabbermouth to let a coach know that they're listening, they're paying attention. And so the whole structure for Elizabeth to be a very successful, very wonderful runner in the next several years is already there. So just keep cranking, Elizabeth, keep coming to practice, and keep running, and you'll go far. You were voted most valuable player or most outstanding by your teammates.
This young lady, I'm going to start out from the very beginning, was voted most improved by our teammates. And when we talk about this, we talk about high school voting primarily. And she came out and absolutely did not have a clue about what she was supposed to do or how she was supposed to do it or anything else. And the improvement in this young lady as the season went along was just phenomenal. She's got nice long legs. She has really a pretty good running style. It's pretty decent. We need to get her to stand up a little taller and stuff like that. But she came out, and the improvement from day one of understanding what we were doing, because she had no idea what she was supposed to be doing, till the day we finished, was incredible. And she really, really, really accomplished a great deal. She, I think she also, loved the fact that, we're the only team, or sport, I guess I should put it that way, only sport where we're together. Middle school, high school together. And we're all one team. We're not a middle school team. We're not a high school team. We're all one team. And Noah really found a lot of good friends, I think, in this team. And I enjoyed her interacting with them and having a chance to learn a new sport and come along. And by golly, she's going to really show some people some smoke. She's going to be out there in front. They're going to be looking at her. We're proud of what you accomplished, and all riches, most important.
Jimmy's still in the learning curve phase of running, and most people don't expect there to be much of a learning curve for running. It's like, hey, just go run. There really is quite a lot to it. And so the potential there is still a little bit buried, but I know Bobby and I can see it. And so once he figures that out, starts to uncover it himself, really have no idea where Jimmy can go with this, but I think it can be pretty dang good. So I hope he sticks with it, is patient, keeps his eyes open, keeps his ears open, listens well, and we can kind of see where we can take it. Come on up, Jimmy.
We lost this young man for a season, and then he came back, and thank God he did, because he came back and he's running very, very well. He's really matured a lot. He's got a lot stronger. He really became a part of the boys' team. And we're so glad that he was there. And he was always the first one there to practice. And he always gave an awful lot of effort to what he was doing. I truly believe that Sonny is still growing. Like Elise, he still has to catch up with his growth, those long legs that he's walking around on. And he is really, now, this year, the improvement in the fact that he's starting to figure out what to do with those long limbs and get from place to place with them and stuff like that. The improvement was phenomenal. I'm really, really proud of his growth, and I'm so glad that he's not any older, so we can keep having him on our team. Sonny, I'm very, very proud of your accomplishments this year. Congratulations. These are in no order. I mean, we did the middle school, but for the younger kids. But these are in no order. We just come in.
So I have a soft spot in my heart for kickers, and people that finish the race really, really, really strong. That's kind of how I was. And Greg would attest to this. If you are within a significant distance from Alexis on the track, you're in trouble. She made the comment one day, I really hate sprinting. Well, you're good at it. I mean, you run a 5K and you finish that hard, you're obviously going to do it. Okay, well, you hate it, but keep doing it because you keep catching people. And at the district meet, she was one of the 2 people we beat Bandon by 8 points, I think it was, maybe 6. And Alexis caught 2 people on the track. That's a significant point swing when you're only beating people by 6 or 8 points. So I hope Alexis learns to kind of like the sprint at the end, and then can kind of extend that throughout the rest of the 5K. Gain that confidence to run some pretty smoking fast times, because Alexis can totally do that. Always very pleasant, very friendly, very kind. One part of our varsity squad at the state meet, and we're hoping to see you in one. Are you junior, Alexis?
Sophomore.
Sophomore! Even longer. Great. So, several more years to keep working at this crazy thing called running.
I know that the only reason this young man came out with us this year is because the sport he wanted to go out for wasn't happening. And I thought, oh, we're going to work with this young man, and he really works hard, and he's just great athlete, everything else. And then he's going to leave us. We'll have to put all this effort into his running and everything else. But the most wonderful thing I heard at the end of the season is he's not going to. He's going to stay with us. That really, really makes me happy. He was a very valuable part. Was a scorer on our men's team. Did a very, very fine job all season long. Improved tremendously all season long. And I think he did that while just growing at the same time. It's really kind of hard to do because I know he's taller now than he was when he started. And he also, additionally, is a scholar athlete, which means that they have to have a 3.5 or above the semester prior in order to be a scholar athlete. So if a person is out as a freshman, then they can't become a scholar athlete until a full semester has happened. And so, William, I can't even imagine the improvement that you went into during this season. And I know that your teammates are very, very proud of your accomplishments, as Caleb and I are. And really, it's going to be fun to see what happens. You've really, really come a long way. So I'm very, very proud. He was about to be tall when we started. Did I say your last name right?
I think so.
Good, because I knew I had it all wrong, and Chelsea coach correct.
Thank you.
Another one of those kind of neat pictures, a similar thing I really enjoy is watching the young kids, young athletes, set goals and achieve goals. Really sucks when they miss them, but every once in a while you get that one, set the goal, knock the goal down. And they get a big smile on their face, and I get a big smile on my face. It's like, all right, next goal. So Cassie had a big goal at the state of Jefferson. I don't think she realized that she did accomplish her goal, but she did something else for the team there. She scored. She was on the varsity squad. And that's something that you need when you have meets where people are sick, or you have another priority that conflicts with the meet. And you've got this depth, and Cassie stepped up and took that depth, and they got to go with the full team. And so accomplishing the goal is great, and then being there for the team is great. And that's something Cassie was always there for. She was always there for the team. And so let's keep setting goals. Let's keep knocking goals down.
I know I'm getting shorter, but I think I think I'm going like this. And Reed is no exception to this. Those great long legs went very well. He actually improved tremendously. And he knows he has. Almost at the end of the season, he had a little episode with some injury problems, and we were really quite concerned. I thought, oh no, he's worked through this one so hard, and now this is working out real good for him. But he rose above it. He actually was able to go beyond that. And that is to his character, to work hard to accomplish what needs to be done. We're very fortunate that we have a pretty young team. He's a sophomore also. And so he's got a couple more years to put dust in people's faces too. And I know he plans to do it. He has done a tremendous job this season. He's one of these kids that when he comes, I know he takes care of everything. He knows exactly where everything is. He has his shoe box here, and he's got these shoes here, and there's this here, and this here. And Reed is very organized. I hope that I'm not saying something that he wouldn't be at home. Because maybe those things don't happen there, but they do happen in cross country. And Reed, that makes me feel good because I know I don't have to pick up your stuff and hand it back to you. You're not one of our lost and found ones. But he really has done something with those great long legs this season. And he's got a lot, 2 more seasons to go. I know he's going to start skiing real quick. And we'll cheer you for your skiing. And I'm very, very proud of you. Congratulations.
Part of the fun that I get to participate in is actually to run with most of them. And I have run a really long way with Luis. I would estimate that Luis and I over the last year have run close to 1,000 miles together. He's fit. Watched him do workouts that are like, whoa. So as soon as Luis can connect where his fitness level is, that confidence you need to run an effective 5K, look out. Because he's going to drop time like nobody's business. And it's coming. We just don't know quite when, but we're getting closer. So Luis, I've greatly enjoyed every mile, every crazy discussion we've had, we're out of breath and we're not having any discussion we've had. It's been great. You are a very fun person to run with and I enjoy it all. If you ever need anything, Luis is there for you. He's got your back. He's a good teammate, he's a good friend, and this team should be very thankful to have him. Luis is a scholar athlete, and his teammates have voted him most inspirational.
When I see Luis, I see Zach. Because anytime anything needs to be done, they're doing it before I ask. They really are. The 2 of them, I can't get anything done because they've already done it for me. And I mean that very sincerely. These 2 young men, if I say we need something to do, they're there. They're the first ones to volunteer. They're the first ones to get it done, and they work together. And they don't, once in a while they'll look at one another and hold hands and come up. You know, and they're a team. They're a team. But Zach is also a very accomplished runner. I know this summer Zach probably wasn't able to get the miles in that he would have liked to. And I'm sure he will admit to that. But the bottom line is, once he was able to get to the point where he could actually be here and work out each day, he gave everything he had to that run. Absolutely everything. His improvement was phenomenal, especially in the fact that, you know, he didn't have the opportunity to get as many miles in the summer as he would have liked to. Hopefully we can figure out a way to help that out a little bit, but even so, your teammates recognize that as well because you've been awarded most improved.
Sometimes the effort is convincing the athletes that you can have a lot of fun. and you can be an accomplished runner. And Macy's kind of in that boat. We'll try to change a person's form, try to change a person's outlook. Don't want to change a person's personality, because they're all fun in their own way. They're all unique in their own way. And I think Macy could figure out how to be a really good runner. She could just find everything. Quit leaving stuff behind. She'll get it. She'll figure it out. And I hope she does. I hope she does soon, because she could be a really good runner. I mean, she really stepped up for us at the state meet. She was typically the 6th runner on the team. And in cross country, every race they'll fall into 1 through 7. We try to discourage the idea of I'm number 6, I'm number 2, I'm number 1. And just think of the team aspect and trying to be as far forward as you can. And Macy came through for us that day. Alexis didn't have the perfect day for her, and Macy stepped up and took that spot. And that was a big deal because 6th place wasn't too far behind the girls. So that was a huge benefit for us. So she may leave a sweatshirt around every once in a while. And she may be kind of just there for the kicks and giggles, but she stepped up and took care of business when we needed her to. And I think the team really appreciates that. Come on up.
Well, this young lady has a little problem with clothing as well. Most of the time, it's almost like, I wonder what she'll have today. Or if she'll have it today. Or when she will be here today. This young lady has an extremely gifted talent when it comes to running. There is no question about the fact that she could be an even more outstanding runner than she is. She has a natural gift, and it comes natural for her. But you know, it's a little hard for her to get going each day. And one day I asked her if she had anything in her basket to bring. I think it was her or Macy one. I don't remember which one now. And sometimes they have one doesn't close, and so that's another issue. And stuff like that. But you know, the talent this young lady has, if we can just get it honed in a little bit harder in a straight line, and maybe find her closing stage and stuff like that, so that we don't worry about whether she's going to freeze to death or something like that, and come out there and get the job done. The talent is there, and she's kind of on and off athlete when it comes to practice. But when you put her on the track, everything changes. Everything changes. It's like, I know why I'm here, and I know what I'm going to do. And she gets the job done. She absolutely accomplishes what she sets out to do. Such a gift. We just have to keep working on that gift, because her abilities really are outstanding. You have been voted by your teammates as most improved, Scarlett. She find her way up here. Hi guys. Oh. Don't stop picking your nose.
So I we said we'd try to tweak people's technique a little bit. And once Sam figured out that she walks with the stride length of this, and she runs with the stride length of this, she's got to kind of flip those around. Voila, PR! Yes! So right at the end of the season, Sam figured it out. I can hurt, and I can get to that point of suffering in a race that every 5K runner has ever experienced and keep going. And so Sam's already mentioned that she wants to keep working at this, keep developing it, and that's great. Because as soon as you figure out some little technique thing like that, it gets so much more fun. When you stop fighting yourself and you just start flowing as a runner, it's so much more fun. And it just opens up doors of possibilities. And you never be able to look at a mountain and be like, oh, I can't ever run to the top of that. If you figure out how to run, you'll be looking at the next mountain, and the next mountain, and the next mountain, until you run to the top of every high mountain in Lake County, and you're like, now what? Go to Mount here. You're higher over there. So Sam's in that phase. It just clicked. And that's exciting, because when it clicks, where we go now? That's great. So Sam has been, she was part of our state crew. She's a scholar athlete, and let's see what we got here. On the track.
Yeah.
This young lady had a goal this year, and the goal was to go to Border Clash. Border Clash is one of the highlights of anybody's athletic career. And she was working hard for that. You have to, at the state meet, accomplish that if you're like being one of the top runners. One day she came to me and she was very, very upset. They didn't have Border Clash. I said, but you can still run so that you would have accomplished that. We tried to change your goal around a little bit because we kind of lost your goal. But this is a young lady that puts everything she has into every workout. Asks a lot of questions, wants to know a lot of things. Sometimes to the point where I think maybe we will get out of here about 9 o'clock at night because she really wants to learn everything. She is someone who has dedicated herself to the sport of cross country, as our other athletes have as well. She put everything she had into her season. She won the district meet, and she won it convincingly. When she went by me a couple of times, I looked at the look in her face, I thought, nobody's going to get past this girl. Because I knew that would happen. It would not happen. To be one of the top 10 in the state meet, and we had bookends here. We had 9th and 10th. And Ella was not. When you think of the competition that we had there at the state meet, it was phenomenal. It was very, very, very tough. It wasn't the easy meet we had the week before, by comparison. But all of our kids worked hard, and they did a great job. And Ella worked through that meet at the state meet with all the courage and dedication that she had put into her season. And that is very, very honorable. And she did a marvelous job. She has a great future here, if we can just keep her healthy. She worries me all the time, and she knows that. I'm on her all the time, and she probably hates me for it, which I don't really care. I'm still going to do it, it doesn't matter to me, because she's kind of an accident waiting to happen all the time. And that's the way it goes. LAU accomplished a great deal this year, but I hope that you're going to tell us what your goals are beyond this very quickly, because you have to keep those goals. I'm sorry Board of Class didn't work out for you. I know that was a goal for you and other athletes as well. I know Julia had that in mind as well. But on the other hand, you did accomplish a great deal. Ella is a scholar athlete, and she was voted by her teammates as most valuable. Congratulations.
If you want a good idea for what is possible, if you get out and run 5-6 days a week for a couple years, look no further than Skish. And Bobby will confirm this. Several years ago, I'm going to embarrass Skish.
I know what he's going to say because it's true.
Skish did what we call the shopping cart. The hands go here, and they don't go anywhere else. Can't do this. Maybe a little bit.
In a little county.
Yep. This kind of middle school Skish was kind of like, there's a lot of work to be done there. I don't know if we're gonna make it. But junior Skish was like, what was that? It's amazing. So just like what I was talking about with Elizabeth, you get this side profile of Skish, you have the cover to whatever the next running book is, because it's flawless. The sideways Skish, flawless. A few little tweaks still need to be done on the straightforward, but not much. Work ethic, second to none. Attention to detail, second to none. And this is all, she's earned every bit of it. 2 injuries in the last year, and she still dropped 40 seconds. It's amazing. It's just amazing. I will verify it, but I'm fairly certain Skish is now the 5th. So I've been doing a project. I've been going through since 1960 on the OSAA state archives, every Lakeview athlete at the state meet, every Lakeview team at the state meet, boys and girls. And I finished it yesterday. So I'm very confident that I'm pretty sure Skish is number 5 all time for girls. By 1 second. She's run 1950, number 4 is run 1949. She's right there. And I'm fairly confident, I'll double check, but I think Ella's number 2 or number 3. So these girls have accomplished a lot. And they've completely earned it. And it's been an absolute blast to be there for it. To watch them figure stuff out, to watch them excel, to watch them accomplish. El Dorado is the code name for probably the hardest run we do. It's run to the top of Black Cap. And the accomplishment is, can you make it without stopping? Skish did it. I know most boys on the varsity team over the last several years, even the team that got 3rd 2 years ago at the state championship, I think only about 2 or 3 of them could make that run without stopping. So that's amazing, because Skish is an amazing runner, and it's just going to keep getting better from here. Skish has been voted most inspirational as part of our varsity squad and is a scholar athlete.
We only have 3 seniors. And Julia's one of them. To put it bluntly, Julia's gone through hell. And I mean that very sincerely. Julia has had to work through allergies and other breathing problems, the likes of which I have never seen in all my years of coaching. I've never seen anybody even close to it. Not even very close to it. I watched her try everything, religiously do things that Caleb or I told her to do to help her, I watched her not finish races because she could not, because there was no air to finish them. I watched her suffer over and over again because she was unable to do the things that she expected of herself. The day she finished her first race and was able to accomplish that, I was probably the happiest person in the world. Because finally, she had figured out a way to put these things together to make it work. She had to do it. We tried to help, but we can't help. She's got to do it. We can't do it for her. She has suffered through race after race after race after race, and still came back every day, ready to work hard, do anything that was asked of her. She gets very upset with herself. She has extremely high goals, and she works hard all the time to accomplish them. Julia will not run Lakeview cross country another season. And for that, we are both very, I guess, we are both sad. But I will also tell you that Julia has what it takes to go on. She has the maturity, she has the desire, and she will go on. And she hasn't finished being a runner by any means. But I want you to know that from the time she began until where we are now, you can't even imagine what she's gone through. And you can't even imagine what she's accomplished. And Julia, we are very, very proud of what you've done. And thankful that you did. Thank you. That's true. She said, the word I'm looking for is stubborn, and that's very
Kind of a bone to pick with Julia is she makes Bobby and I feel like total jerks. You go to a meet, she has this trouble, like everybody just rushes. Bobby and I come in, she's fine, she'll live.
She'll make it. I'm sure they think we're just
the worst coaches ever. She's gonna run in front of the bus today. Paul. I heard it that my brother's 5th grade teacher was kind of a cynical person. And they said, life sucks, then you die. I'd like to take a little bit more constructive approach. So there's a quote attributed to Bill Bowerman. So if you don't know Bill Bowerman, he's the legendary coach of University of Oregon track and field, Coach Prefontaine, kind of the second line of the great Bill coaches at Oregon. So the quote is attributed to him. I don't know if he actually said it. It's a great line. I'm probably going to butcher it. I'm going to paraphrase it. But he said, running is an absurd pastime. And if you can find the kind of running that you need to do to be on a team like this, you just might find the ability and the skills to succeed at another absurd pastime. And that's called life. So you've been knocked down, dragged through the mud, had the flu, all sorts of crazy stuff that any one of us wouldn't have been able to handle. And yet you're here. That's why you're voted most inspirational. Because that is inspiration. So you may not have achieved the goals you want, but the skills you gain getting to this point will help you succeed in life, marriage, work, whatever you put your mind to. I'd like to see you keep running. You're dang good at it. And it's also a lot of fun to run. But those are things that will carry on way longer than fast times, trophies, medals, records. Those are the icing on the cake. You already got it. Okay. You're also voted most valuable player. I expect to see you outrun. I wrote something in code in Latin on your t-shirt, see if you can figure it out. It's good.
Okay. Okay, when Paul couldn't come to the meeting, we obtained a t-shirt and the kids signed.
Nice.
Oh.
Okay, so I just wanted to say something about the coaches because the coaches that we have here are really the backbone of this team because without them we probably wouldn't be doing so well. So we want to take a moment and recognize all that we do for us. So we're going to talk about Caleb first. So it would be really easy to just say, okay guys, go run for an hour and be back here soon. But that's not what he does, that's not what he's about. He spends a lot of time, probably more time than anyone else would be willing to calculate like the perfect workouts for us and tailor them to every athlete at the level that they're at. And he answers every weird question that we have and tells us our split times at the mile, tells us what they need to be, and he probably has more patience than I've ever seen. It's amazing. So thank you, Caleb, for all they do and for caring about us. So now we're going to talk about he's not exactly a coach, but he's still very important to the team. Greg Christensen lives in Klamath Falls, but he makes the 2-hour drive most days just to run with us for a little while. And he also happens to drive himself to all of our meets, which are far away. And it's so encouraging when you're dying in a race and you hear Greg cheering for you. Keep going, you got it. And afterwards, he never fails to congratulate us and say, hey, I really like how you did that thing, and you just keep going and you're going to be so good. So Greg always has a listening ear for us to tell him how we think he did on the race, and he always has a little nugget of running wisdom that he wants to share with us. So Greg, thank you for all that you do for us, even when you don't have to. It's really amazing. So finally, we would like to talk about Bobby. Bobby already has a lot on her plate with teaching other classes and taking care of all of her animals and everything. But she does more for this team than really anybody. So she makes arrangements well in advance with Emma to make sure that we have a bus driver and a place to stay at. And she schedules like everything for us. So she's the one to go to if you need your ankle wrapped or a tissue or a mint, foam roller or an extra spike. So Bobby doesn't get the recognition that she deserves, so we're giving it to you now. So to say that we appreciate you guys is an understatement. Caleb, Bobby, and Greg, you three are the heart and soul of this team, and we're forever grateful for all that you do.
Thanks, you guys.
Now, I haven't seen this, but I'm sure it's really fun. The girls have put together a slideshow. I want, prior to that, to just make a couple of closing comments. First of all, I really want you to know how important it is that we thank the parents for allowing us to coach your athletes. It's been our gift, and we really appreciate the opportunities. And with the exception of 3, we hope that we'll have them plus many more in the future. We're going to keep recruiting, and I want you to know that every single one of these athletes is the key to the team. It takes every one of them to make things the way they click. We appreciate all their efforts. Please, when the slideshow is over, I'd appreciate it if you would not leave me any pot holders or spoons or anything. I don't need them. Grab your stuff. Thank you for the fine food. And we'll go to the slideshow and we'll